Hey, welcome to another Enneagram podcast.
Yeah, that's right. Yet another Enneagram podcast. But this one's different. Another Enneagram podcast is here to help you be a better leader for your team.
We know leadership is already challenging enough, and it can be downright frustrating when your team communication breaks down.
Another Enneagram podcast is here to tell you stories of leaders just like you who are learning how to lead their teams better with the Enneagram. If you want your team to communicate better, be more productive, and love their jobs, another Enneagram podcast is for you. Hey, welcome back to another Enneagram podcast. I am your co-host, Ryan, with my other co-host here, Cody, and we are continuing in this rapid-fire series of top 10 questions around the Enneagram. These are shorter episodes, like we say, but we think that they're good, think that you're going to like them and find them useful. So share them with somebody that you think might enjoy it. Cody, ready for number 8?
Let's do it.
Okay, I'm really testing you on this one. Number 8 is, who created the Enneagram?
You tell me.
Got anything?
Man, I don't know. From my research, the origins of the Enneagram seem to be a little bit of everywhere. I think when I first dove in, somebody even made reference to that when you read the Odyssey, is that there's a different part of that story where there's 9 islands with 9 different types of people. And they say that that even has reference points to the Enneagram itself. And that was thousands of years ago, which is crazy. So the original origins, I am unaware of. So maybe you can enlighten me.
Well, let me just tell you, you're exactly right.
Oh, perfect. I was sweating bullets there for a second.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of different, like you said, different kind of origin stories for it and evidence of Enneagram or things really similar to Enneagram in a lot of historical stuff. So whether that's ancient writers or philosophers, like you're talking about with the Odyssey, right? Philosophers and things like that from ancient cultures. There's also lots of kind of evidence with ancient Jewish stuff and ancient Muslim communities that would use not necessarily the Enneagram that we see today or like how we have it today, but just kind of general knowledge about human personality and things like that that would very much fit into our modern Enneagram structure, right? And so what is cool is there is a lot of evidence for more ancient communities using it to kind of shepherd and guide and help people. And so one of my favorite ones is from a group called the Desert Fathers. Familiar with them at all?
Yeah, for sure.
So basically the Desert Fathers are an early Christian community, I think, that left kind of the cities that they were in the Middle East and decided they were going to go out and live, kind of apart from everything else. They wanted to preserve their culture and not be too impacted by the world around them. And they documented a lot of that. And there's some good, really strong evidence for them using earlier iterations of the Enneagram to help guide and love on their people. And so so that's pretty cool. And then of course it's been passed down through a lot of different cultures and generations and stuff. And there's been different people who have put in a lot of work into it, whether that's been different people in, like, I know there's been some South American and European people who have helped bring it from kind of more ancient roots to what the Enneagram is today. And then, in the past 50 years, there's been, it's kind of made its way into a lot of circles in America. It was really strong in the Jesuit priests for a long time. But what's really interesting about that is that it was actually kind of secret knowledge, right? So Jesuit priests were trained to use the Enneagram to help, again, shepherd, guide, love on their people, but they weren't allowed to teach it to other people, right? Which is kind of interesting. You're like, why wouldn't you do that? But the reason was they wanted to protect it from being some like little kitschy thing that's taken for granted. And honestly, they just didn't want it to become a 5-minute Facebook quiz,
For sure. For sure.
And so it wasn't until somewhat recently that it started becoming more common knowledge and made its way outside of some of those traditions, and has been just transformed by modern psychology and sociology to become the Enneagram that we have today. So that's a long-winded way of saying we don't know exactly, like you said at the beginning. But what we do know is that it's been around for a long time and has changed and evolved as we've learned more about personality and just humanity over time. And so that's how we've got our modern Enneagram.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. That's the only thing I was going to add, and you ended up covering it. But within the last, I would say like 100, 150 years in the breakthrough of kind of behavioral science and psychology, a lot of that work has contributed, like you said, to the Enneagram that we see today. And some of the more, I would say, like kind of complex depths of the Enneagram and different things like that. And then you have guys like Richard Rohr and Chris Hewerts that are really bringing it into kind of the realm of spirituality and giving it some language and like practically what it looks like to embody this information. And so, but yeah, it is cool to see something that's kind of stood the test of time and continue to evolve and things like that. And so, yeah.
Love it. Well, we'll be back next time with number 7.
All righty.
Hey, thanks for joining us today on another Enneagram podcast.
As fellow leaders, we know it can be frustrating when it seems like you always run into the same problems on your team with the same people. But leaders just like you are learning how to lead their teams better using the Enneagram, and you can too.
So if you like what you heard today, we would love it if you would share this podcast on social media and leave a rating or review wherever you listen to podcasts, preferably only good, reviews and ratings. That would be great.
If you'd like to connect with us, you can find us on Instagram. We're at Another Enneagram, or head over to our website, anotherenneagram.com.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of Another Enneagram podcast.